tell you. So we're going to get started. So let's start on our tummies, actually. So on your tummy, you're going to stack your hands and rest your head if you'd like to be in crocodile, or turn your head if you like that better. So if this isn't comfortable for you, you just ate dinner or something, that's just fine. Find a position that is comfortable. We're going to come to our breath first, like we usually do at the beginning of class. So we'll let the whole day just kind of fade away. Whatever you need to do after your practice can just politely wait in a different room. Relax the muscles of the face, so the forehead, cheeks, lips, tongue, and root of the tongue. And we're going to bring our attention to the back of the body. So most of your lungs are on your back. They're kind of back there behind your heart. So we're going to think about spreading across the rib cage as you inhale, letting that just naturally widen and expand. And then exhale, it settles back down. We'll start making our inhales and exhales a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. And then I would invite you to set your intention for your practice tonight. If there's something that you need, or your body needs, or your mind needs. We'll take the next few breaths to inhale, whatever that is. I am, or I have, or I receive, whatever it is for you. We're going to keep this long, slow breath going throughout class. So I'll remind you, but as often as you think of it, maybe come to your slower, deeper breath if you kind of forgot about it. By far, the best thing you can do for yourself over the next hour is cultivate this slow, deep breath. Now we're going to bring our elbows right under our shoulders. So we're in Sphinx pose, Salavasana. We're going to press the shoulders away from the ears and not really do anything else right now. Your feet would be hip distance apart, or whatever is comfortable for your back. We'll take a deep breath in here, and then with your exhale, draw your belly in. So it might not move away from the mat, but the activation is there. And then relax. And then draw your belly in again. And see if you can do this without using the glutes. Just draw the belly button into the spine. So inhale and relax the core. And exhale and draw the belly in. Now we're going to hold it there and keep breathing. Draw the shoulders down and back shoulder blades together, and lift the heart forward just a little bit. Now, if you notice that you're doing this with your chin, we're going to put the chin down and think about your breastbone. We're going to press that forward and up and draw the shoulders down. Tummy stays engaged. We'll take a deep breath in here. And then with your exhale, we're going to press back to child's pose. So let this round the back. We had a little extension in the spine, so we'll round the back now. And maybe walk your hands from one side to the other if that feels good. And we'll walk the hands forward, come all the way forward to a low plank. And then with your exhale, just gently bend your elbows. So the elbows are going to go straight back. Super important that the elbow doesn't dip lower than the shoulder. So you're going to stop right where the elbow is lower than the shoulder. Pause right there. Just enjoy it. Feels pretty good. 4, 3, 2, 1. And let the tummy come all the way down. This time we're going to bring the fingertips under the shoulders. And if your back feels nice and strong and healthy, you're going to squeeze your legs together. Squeeze the insides of the knees together. So the heels will actually be a little bit apart. We'll inhale and lift through the back of your head rather than your chin. And exhale, just lower down to touch your nose. We're going to do that a couple times. Inhale, lift up, core is engaged. Squeeze your seat here. Exhale, and come down. How about 2 more like that? We'll inhale, come up. And exhale, and come down. Tummy stays in nice and tight, shoulders away from the ears, lengthening the spine out the crown of the head. And come down. Reactivate your legs, squeeze them together nice and tight. Glutes are active, lift and hold. I'm going to draw the belly in. No support from your hands, they're just touching. So if you're cheating, lift your hands up. And with your exhale, press back. Child's pose. Same thing, round your back, or maybe you want to pause along the way to cat-cow a couple of times, or walk your hands from side to side if you like that. Good. I'm going to settle back down on the tummy. Bring your hands around to your back. So we're going to let the legs just relax now. And maybe you can clasp your hands together with the heel of the hand together, or maybe you're grabbing your elbows. You can rest your head however it's comfortable for you. Mine's up just so you could hear me. We're going to bend the elbows here. And we're going to squeeze the elbows toward each other. While you're doing that, activate your core. So your hands have moved from maybe your bum or past your bum up to your sacrum. So you're making chicken wings, and then you're squeezing them together just a little bit. This might feel like a lot of work. Couple more breaths. Emphasize here if you'd like. Last 2 breaths. And then release those arms. I'm going to come back to Salabhasana, Sphinx pose now. Elbows right under the shoulders. I'm going to spread your fingers out and then press the fingertips down into the mat. So it's important that your wrists, they're not necessarily in line with your elbow. They could be turned out just a little bit more if that's better for your shoulders. So I'm thinking of you, Sherry. This might work better for you. We're going to draw the belly in and then just a gentle press, lifting the elbows up. So there's a wrong way. It would be to lift your shoulders to lift your elbows away from the mat. We're going to leave the shoulders down away from the ears and instead straighten the arms just a little bit. So this is not a static hold. We're going to move maybe a ½ inch, maybe an inch, warming up the upper back. We got the shoulder blades squeezed together. They're sliding down toward your kidneys. Breastbone is going forward and up. Bum is engaged. That's going to protect your back. And maybe a couple more, or maybe you're ready to rest. Or maybe you'd like to come up and hold for a breath or two. Good. With our exhale, we'll come down. And again, come back to child's pose. Round your back along the way. Make cat-cow if that feels good for you. And then let's settle down on our tummies. We're almost done here. You can stack your hands and rest your head or whatever's comfortable for you. We're going to take the right leg and lift it up. So we're making it just as long as we can. You're going to take care that the kneecap has not turned out to the side, toward the side of your mat. It's still straight down towards your mat. Point the toe and really stretch through the inside of the big toe. Go ahead and make that leg nice and strong. Emphasize here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and set it down. Maybe give it a little shake. And we're going to pick up the left leg. Shoulders are away from the ears. And if you've gathered any tension in your jaw or your tongue or your lips, we'll let that go. Maybe breathe in your intention for your practice. Maybe count your breaths to see that they're still long and full. Lifting and stretching from the hip just as high as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest that leg down. Great. Now we're going to take the fingers just as they are if you're in crocodile pose and just connect them to your forehead. Then the upper body lifts up. So the forehead is pressing into the knuckles just a little bit. Knuckles are lifting up. Elbows are nice and wide. And this is our job. We'll inhale and come down. Maybe touch your nose or your lips and exhale and come back up. We're going to activate the seat, keep the core strong all the way through. Matching your inhale to moving down and the exhale to moving up. Inhale, moving down, barely touch. Exhale, moving up. One more time like that. And the next time you're up, we'll hold right there. Squeeze the legs together. If you'd like to lift them up, lift and emphasize here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's turn over to your right shoulder. We're going to come to side plank. So right elbow down. I said shoulder, I meant elbow. Right elbow down. We're going to start out on our hip. So elbow, hip, and knee are all in one line. It's far more natural and likely that the knees are in front of the hips. We're going to scoot them back so they're right in line with the hip. Elbows also right under the shoulder. We'll press and lift. Well, this might feel pretty good. We really need to activate the shoulder. We don't want to dump into that shoulder while we're here, so press away with your whole arm, forearm, and fingertips. We're going to lower the hip down and lift it back up. And we'll lower it down and lift it back up. That feels pretty good. We'll lower it down and lift it back up. Maybe we'll stretch out that top leg. See what we think of that. Lower the hip down and lift it back up. Now I have to tell you, you can rest whenever you want. I have no idea what you're doing right now. I'm not looking at the screen. Lower down, lift back up. Squeeze and hold here. Maybe you want to stay here. Maybe you want to stretch out the bottom leg. If you do, feet are in line with the hips, which is in line with that elbow. In that case, that top arm stretches up. That helps a lot. Let's dip down 3 times. Down, 1, down, and 2, and 1 more down. 3, let's hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower that all the way down. Let's try the other side, shall we? So you're gonna bring your left elbow right under your shoulder. Make sure everything's in a straight line. Lifting here. So you can check in, see that the core is engaged, see that your seat is engaged. We're just dipping straight down. You might check to see that your top hip is directly above your bottom hip. Sometimes it shifts back. 2, really working into the side body. 3, now let's stretch out that top leg. 1, nice and slow with your breath. 2, elevating the heart rate just a little bit. 3, and then maybe you'd like to stretch out both legs. If so, you can stack your feet or put one in front of the other. Maybe that top arm stretches up, dipping the hip down. 1, nice and slow. 2, last one, we're gonna hold, squeeze and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest down. Come all the way back to your tummy. You can stretch your hands alongside your hips. Rest your left ear down. It's a good rest stretch to connect with your breath again. It's also a nice passive stretch for the neck. So you make sure the neck is nice and long, crown of the head is in line with the base of the neck, and then turn your head. For those of us who clench our jaws or hold tension in the jaw, it can be nice to kind of massage that joint into the mat as well. And then we'll bring the head back to center. And however you'd like to get there, let's find downward facing dog. So our down dog, we want our knees to be bent. And if, just for a reminder, your positioning for your down dog is whatever your length is in plank. From plank, you stretch back. Bend your knees a little bit. Even if the heels touch the floor naturally, we still want to bend the knees a little bit so you can lift the hips even higher. So you can feel into that, maybe bend one knee and then the other, walk it out if that feels good. And let's inhale the right leg up high. We're gonna leave it up. Start to round into your shoulders, draw your belly in. We're gonna shift forward to plank with that leg up. And then set it down and come back to down dog. And then let's do that on the other side. Lift the left leg up. Draw the left hip toward your ear just a little bit to avoid rolling that hip open. We're gonna keep both hips square toward the mat. Point those toes and then come forward. Round in the upper back just a little bit. Find that 3-point plank. Nice. Set those toes down and back to down dog. Let's come forward to plank again. This time, chaturanga. Stop where the elbow is even with the shoulder and then lower the tummy down. So now we're gonna squeeze the legs together and lift them up. If you're protecting a sore low back, leave your legs hip distance apart. Squeeze them, lift them just as hard as you can. Bring the fingertips right alongside the hips. So the fingertips are touching down, but that's all. And lift the upper body up. Really important that the glutes are active here to protect your back. Rest when you need to. And float the fingertips alongside the hips, but they won't be any higher than your hips. So our job now is to open the legs, open the arms nice and wide, and then squeeze everything back together. Open everything up, squeeze back together. Open, 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 and squeeze. One more like that. Open, 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 and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest down. This time rest the right ear down. Stretch the arms out alongside your hips. Maybe massage into that joint if that feels good for you. Check in with your breath. If it's sped up, wonderful. Now's the time to slow it down. Let's make our way to down dog. We're going to inhale the right leg up high. With your exhale, bring your knee to your nose in plank. Round your back. Lower the hips, lift the knee. Inhale back, three-legged dog. Exhale, come forward. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lift back. Exhale, round the back, knee to nose, lift, 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 and then plant that foot down. We'll find warrior 2. So your right toes are pointed straight toward the front of your mat, back toes are turned in a little bit. Your heels are lined up with each other. Your shoulders are going to be right over your hips. Check and see that that's so. And then turn the palms the same direction as your heart. We're going to really fire up the back leg and bring that left hip down a little bit. That helps us turn and lift the heart. Reach through the ring fingers. Draw the low belly in. Good. With your exhale, spiral your hands down. Step back to plank. We'll take a deep breath in here. You can hold your plank or exhale, chaturanga. Up dog or baby cobra. Baby cobra, your tummy stays on the floor, and then down dog. We're going to do that on the other side. So let's inhale, lift that left leg up high. With your exhale, bring your knee to your nose, round your back, squeeze and lift everything. And inhale back. Lift that leg up high, exhale, come forward, squeeze everything. And then one more time, inhale back. Exhale, come forward, squeeze and lift, 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 nose to the knee, knee to the nose, and then set it down. We'll find warrior 2 on the second side. Heels are lined up, shoulders over hips. Now fire up into that back leg, really make that back leg work. This way we can lift the heart. Find your breath. And then with your exhale, spiral those hands down. Step back, child's pose or down dog. You decide. Let's inhale the right leg up high and then bring the knee to the right elbow. We're just going to hold that for a second. Puff up the shoulders, drop the head, drop the hips. 4, 3, 2, 1, and set that foot down. Warrior 1. So we're going to spin the back heel down. You're staying on a train track now. Feet are hip distance apart. Both hips are toward the front of your mat. Arms can be up at your heart, on your hips. There we are. Same thing, we're really going to fire up that back leg. Turn your left hip forward. Bend into that front knee. Beautiful. We're going to straighten the front leg. Bring the left arm back. This is exalted warrior. So we inhale, really stretch through the right side of the body here, and then exhale, come back to warrior one. So this is going to be slow motion with your breath. Inhaling, exalted warrior. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Exhaling, we move to warrior one. We'll do that again. Inhale. Straighten that front leg, lift up and back, really stretch through the right side body. Exhale, bend the knee, facing forward, warrior one. One more like that. Good. From warrior one, you're going to bring your hands to your heart. Well, you can stretch them out if you like airplane better. We're coming to a balance on that front leg. So however you'd like to do it. Maybe you're out at an airplane. Maybe your hands are at your heart. But we're really drawing that hip down and up. Down toward the floor, up toward your ear. So the hips stay level. Now that we're here, let's bend that standing knee. Bend it and straighten it. And then we'll do that again. Bend it and straighten it. And then we'll do that again. Bend it and straighten it. Now we're going to bend it and stay there. Just for funsies. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plant your hands. Step all the way back. Find down dog. Connect with your breath. Let's inhale and come forward to plank. We'll exhale, chaturanga. Up dog or baby cobra. And then down dog. Let's bring that left leg up high. Now the left knee is coming to the elbow as we come forward to this plank. Lift and hold, round the upper back. Draw the chin in, lower the hips. 5, 4, 3, 2. Plant that foot, spin the back heel down, and lift up warrior one. Here we are. You guys look great. Find your breath. We're working that back hip forward. So you're on as wide of a train track as you need. So both hips can be forward. Hands can be here if you're losing your engagement in your core. Let's bring that right hand down, straighten the front leg. So this is exalted warrior, stretching through the left side body. Turn this way so I don't mess you up. This is our inhale. Wait for your exhale to come back to warrior one. So you're following your breath. Bring that right arm down, straighten the front leg, stretch to the left side body, inhaling the whole time, and exhaling back to our warrior one. Couple more like that. Following your breath, take your time. One more. Exhaling back to warrior one. And then hands to heart or out at airplane. You're gonna get ready for that warrior three. So your warrior three is just a balance on this leg. How far you're tipped over, that doesn't matter at all. Just balance. Draw that right hip down so it's still even with the left. And then hitch the hip up toward the right shoulder. That's it, nice. Make that leg nice and strong. We're gonna bend our standing knee and straighten it. Shoulder blades are down your back. Lift your heart just a little bit. Bend the standing knee and straighten it. I'm going to do that one more time before we hold. Bend the standing knee and straighten it. Now we're going to bend and hold, working on this bent leg balance. Enjoy the wobbles. That's where we get stronger. Press into all four corners of the foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch down. Step back, down dog, or child's pose, or get a drink. Take a break. When you're ready, we come back to downward facing dog. I'm going to put that together just a little bit. So let's inhale the right leg up high and then bring it through to the left elbow. So you're creating a little cross underneath you and it's coming to the left elbow. Just for fun, squeeze and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Untwist, plant that foot. Warrior one. We were just here. Warrior one. Take a deep breath in here. And exhale. Good. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, warrior two. We'll inhale, straighten that front leg. Arms can come overhead. We're going to move to warrior three. So hands can also come to the heart. Lift the back heel, and away we go. Lengthen out through the crown of the head. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bend that standing knee just a fraction. Now we're going to take a deep breath in, and then with your exhale, stretch that leg back. Bend your knee deeply, stretch the leg back, back, back. Coming back to warrior two. Nice job. With your next exhale, we'll spiral down. Come to down dog. Inhale, come forward, find plank. You can hold your plank here, building strength, or exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra, and exhale, down dog. Let's bring the left leg up high. With your next exhale, draw the knee in tight. It comes over to the right elbow. So this creates a little bit of a twist, still round the shoulders. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Untwist, plant that foot. We'll spin the back heel down and find warrior one. Working that right hip forward, really strong back leg. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, turn, warrior two. Inhale, straighten that leg. Hands can come overhead or they can come to your heart. We're working our way to warrior three. Use your breath. Now, we'll bend that front knee deeply. Really stretch that back leg back. Stretch way, way, way back. And then float it down. Back to warrior two. With your exhale, we'll bring your hands down, step back, down dog, child's pose, or another vinyasa flow if you would like that. Let's meet in all fours. If your wrists are getting tired, come down to your forearms or make fists. Helps sometimes if the wrists are just straight for a little while. We're going to stretch the left leg and the right arm out. So now that you're here, draw your belly in, flex that back foot. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears. So your extended arm may need to be a little wider than your shoulder, so the shoulder can really drop into its socket. Experiment and see. If the wrist happens to be lower than your shoulder, chances are it needs to be a little wider. Go to the right a little bit more. See if that helps. We're going to stretch from the heel out the ring finger. Stretch and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and set it down. Let's do the other side. Let's stretch the right leg out. You're checking to see it's right in line with your hip joint, and then the left arm. Again, you're going to make sure that that arm isn't any lower than your shoulder. If it is, it probably needs to be a little wider. Thumb is up. Belly's in nice and tight. You're all working hard. You're doing great. Lift from your tricep on that extended arm. Draw the belly in. Stretch that heel back. Emphasize here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest down. Come all the way back to child's pose. You sweep your hands back to your feet. Let the elbows flop. Check in with your breath. If it sped up a little bit, great, so did mine. We'll just slow it back down. All right, let's shift forward to curl the toes under. And you might need to move your pinky toe out of the way a little bit. We're going to just put a little bit of pressure on the underside of the toes, underside of the feet. So nice stretch for the instep and for the underside of the toes. Couple of breaths here. If you're bored, lengthen through the crown of the head. Make yourself even longer. When the muscles pull on the bones, that's when your bones get more dense, create more bone density. Hi, kitty. Sometimes my cat wanders through. All right, we're going to switch that by bringing the top of the foot flat on your mat. Just like so. So we'll be here as tolerated. Tucker, move just a second. This is what we're going to do. We're going to stretch the top of the ankle, the front of the ankle. So we'll sit here. Maybe this is quite a stretch for you already. Maybe you need to lean back and lift your knees up a little bit. So the knees come up off the mat a little or a lot. We're still lengthening out the crown of the head. We'll draw the shoulders down and back. You get a little shoulder stretch here as well. Fingers can be behind you if you like. Or maybe your knees stay down. That's plenty of stretch for you. That's just fine. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll set that back down. Stretch those legs out. Circle one ankle. Circle the other ankle. And come back to that balancing table just for tiger pose. So we'll stretch out the right arm and the left leg. We're going to turn the heart out and reach back and see if we can take hold of that foot. If we can, then we're going to begin to lift the quad up. If not, we're reaching for it. That's all. Just fine. Plenty of benefit there. Fire up your right hip. That's the balancing hip. 2 more breaths here. And then we'll release. Stretch everything out. Set it back down. Let's do that on the second side. Right leg and left arm, or whatever your second side happens to be. I'm going to turn the heart to the left, reach back, grab for that foot. If we have hold of the foot, we begin to lift the quad. Really firing up in the left hip, so we're not shifting all our weight over to the outside of the hip. Push into the inside of the knee. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release and let it go. Stretch that leg back. Push the toes down and then press the heel back. And then we'll do that on the other side if that feels good, or some other kind of stretch might feel good. All right, we're in the perfect spot for some bow pose variations. So let's come down to our tummies. We're going to do one side at a time, just for grins. So let's bring the right arm underneath your chest. So we're going to spin it in underneath your chest. So it's lifting you up. Then we're going to lift up that left leg. And then we'll flex the foot. We're not reaching back there yet. We're just going to lift that leg up. So we're lifting the quad away from the floor, lengthening out through the crown of the head, shoulders away from the ears. And lower it down. Getting used to warming up these hip flexors, stretching them a little bit. Let's lift just an inch or so, 2 or 3 times. Good. Now we're ready. We're going to reach back and grab that foot. 2 ways to do it. You can hold on like we do in bow pose, or you can switch your hand to the inside like we do in dancer. Both are okay. Before you do anything else, you'll check and see that your knee is in line with your hip. It's not wide. It's right in line with your hip. Everything else is the same. Push and lift. Really lift the leg. That's the job. Lift the quad away from the floor. And release that. Maybe your back needs a little attention, cat-cow, or settle back to child's pose for a breath or 2 before we go on to the second side. So we'll bring the left arm now right under the breastbone. Right arm's right here supporting us for now. Let's lift that right leg up. Flex the foot, and then we'll lift. This is work, yeah? Shoulders are away from the ears. And then lower. And then we're going to just pump that up and down a couple of times. So lift and lower. Good. Then knee stays bent 90 degrees the whole time. And lift and lower. Good. Now we're going to reach back and grab the foot. Unless you have a shoulder injury, match what you did before, whether you grab the inside or the outside of your foot. Activate this arm, your supporting shoulder, press the floor away, and then lift with the quad. That's it. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest it down. And now give your body what it needs. Maybe child's pose. One thing that feels really good to me after doing one side like that is to counter stretch. And those lateral stretches like we did at the beginning. That might feel good for you too. And then let's come back to our tummies. We're going to stack our hands and rest our head, and then do both legs. If you want, you don't have to, but if you want. So both feet are flexed, both knees are bent about 90 degrees. We're going to draw the belly in and activate the seat, and then lift both quads off the floor. This is really fun. Squeeze and lift. Do you feel everything working? Your hamstrings are working, your glutes are working, your low back is working. Lift the quads up, lift. Little pulses here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now squeeze and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release that. Maybe egg beater your legs around or shift your hips side to side. Now at this point, you get to decide if you're ready for a break or you'd like to take our traditional double bow pose. If that's what you'd like to do, we're going to hold on the outside of the foot. Draw the shoulders away from the mat. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then down toward your kidneys. We're going to start to press the feet back and again lift the quads. Chin stays down so the neck stays long. That's it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Beautiful. Come back to child's pose. Take a few breaths to let it go. We'll walk the hands in front of us and then come up into downward facing dog. And then walk your hands to the back of your mat so they're right by your feet. You're in forward fold. There we go. From forward fold, we're going to bend the knees deeply. Bend them maybe so that your seat is in line with your feet or below them. And then bring your hands to your knees. Good. Now from here, with your hands on your knees and your seat way down, you're going to lift your heart up, which is going to require you to draw your belly in. We'll stay right here. If you want to work a little harder, we'll stretch your arms out, put them at your heart, put them up overhead. They can provide a little support right on your legs. So your seat's way back, like you're skiing downhill, your belly is in, and you're lifting your heart. So you're creating a little bit of a spine extension here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll come all the way up. Shake that out. Okay, I'm turning this way so you can see me. We're going to bring the left leg up first, 90 degrees. Your hands can be out like so, or they can be up high, whatever you like better. So your hip is bent at 90, knees bent at 90, and the foot is flexed. And you're going to check and see, sometimes when we do this, we start to bring that leg toward the midline. Try to keep all the joints in line. Good. So we're going to do this 3 times. We're going to inhale here, and then exhale, and then fold forward. Make your airplane. Stretch out through the crown of the head rather than the chin. You're going to inhale and come up. Your arms can go with you, or they can stay in one place. And exhale, and go back. And one more time like that. Inhale, come up. And exhale, airplane. Bend your standing knee, and then we'll come right to chair. Shift the hips way back, draw the belly in, lift up the heart. If you stretch out your arms nice and wide like you just had a big victory, great. No, inhale, come up. Bring that left leg up now. Or whatever your second side is, maybe it's your right. Your second side. Take a deep breath in and exhale. We'll fold. Oh, we need to hang out there for a little bit. We'll do that at the end. Inhale, come on up. And exhale, we fold. Inhale, come on up. And exhale, airplane. Inhale, come up. We're going to stay here because we didn't at the beginning. So the arms can be stretched out or they can be wherever you like. Flex the foot, lift the leg. That's it. Draw the belly in. Activate the seat here. Go ahead, bend your standing knee, and then we'll come right back to chair. This chair pose we're going to make a little bit different. This chair pose, let's leave the hips right over or right under the shoulders. Rather than pressing the hips back and leaning forward, we're going to pretend we're sliding down a wall. So the knees bend and that's it. Keep your belly in. See if the shoulders can be stuck on the same wall as your seat. And then maybe lift your right heel. And then your left heel. And then let's lift both, because why not? Squeeze and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And put them down and forward fold. Let this feel good. Maybe bend one knee and the other knee. Maybe walk the hands to the right and to the left. Now we're going to bend the knees enough that your tummy is on your quads. And then circle your hand back. We have a couple choices here. Press the hand into the calf, or hold on to your ankles, or step on your fingers. So we're going to begin to straighten the legs, but only so far as you can go with the belly on the legs. We're going to relax the neck. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Bring the weight to the ball of the foot. 2 more breaths here. And then we'll let that go. We're coming to pigeon pose. So we'll start with the right leg forward. From all fours, your right knee goes to your wrist. Ankle works its way towards the other wrist. And then we stretch that leg back. You're going to check and see that your alignment is good. Your ankle is still in line with your hip. Your knee is flat on your mat. It hasn't turned one way or the other. We'll inhale and lift first. Draw the belly in. It's important that you activate your glutes here to protect your back. Spine stays nice and long as you fold forward. Our goal here is not to reach the floor. It's to keep the shoulder blades together and the heart lifting forward ever so slightly. So if that's the case and you melt toward the floor, great. It might be more prudent to stack your hands and rest your head on your fists. Wherever you wind up, shoulders are away from the ears. Ever so slightly, you're lifting your heart forward and up. Let's bring the fingertips under the shoulders. Press up just a little bit. When you come to a bit of a twist, I'm gonna go this way so you can see. You're gonna plant, let's start with the left elbow first. You're gonna plant it right under your shoulder. And then the twist would happen more in the upper back than the lower back. So you need to be careful of that. Hands come to the heart just like we do in a twisted lunge. And we'll look toward your right bent leg. Feel a stretch in the outer hip there. It might feel better for you to press your hand onto your leg for a little bit of leverage. We'll keep the back of the neck long. And we'll undo that twist and we're going to go right to the other side. So the right elbow comes down. Now the stretch is more the inside of the leg, the groin. If it doesn't work to hold yourself there with your hands like that, then press your fingertips into the mat and then make it work for you. You're feeling a stretch the inside of your right upper leg. Experiment with bringing your head closer to the mat or further away. Find the spot that seems most beneficial for you and stay there. And then we'll gently untwist. Walk the back leg in until you can free that front leg and stretch it back. Give the hip what it needs. And then when you're ready, we'll go to the other side. I'm going to check your alignment first. Activate your lower core. Lengthen through the spine. So I like to stay here a breath or two. So I remind myself my goal isn't to just flop on the floor. The goal is to keep the spine long and straight. So the shoulders are down away from the ears. Shoulder blades are together. And from there we move. Your range of motion tells you where you need to stop, and honor that. We'll start our twist with our opposite elbow down. So for me, that would be the left elbow down, my right leg's forward. Maybe hands are in prayer. Maybe your hand is on your front leg. Shoulders stay away from the ears. And this isn't a large movement. Our goal isn't to see how far we can crank around. Our goal is to find a stretch in the outer right hip. Release that twist and come to the other side. That elbow plants down. And now our stretch target changes to the inner right leg. And again, you might find this is different if your shoulder is closer to the mat or if it's further away from the mat. So you'll experiment to find the perfect stretch for you. And then we'll gently untwist. Walk that back leg in until you can release the front leg and give it what it needs. And make our way to our backs, however you'd like to get there. If you have an eye pillow handy or your socks or your hoodie, now's the time to grab it. And once you're centered on your back, then draw the right knee in and give it a hug. You'll scoot outside your rib cage, so you're pulling the knee more toward the underarm. And at the same time, you're pressing your tailbone down and both shoulder blades into the mat. And then we'll release that leg and draw the left leg in. Same thing, going outside the rib cage, more toward your underarm, draw that leg in. Press the tailbone down, press both shoulder blades down. Lengthen your neck, particularly if you notice your chin beginning to pop up. And then we'll release that leg. Draw both legs in and give them a hug. If you can lift your head and wrap just tightly enough to grab your elbows, great. Grab your forearms, whatever you can reach, and then settle the head back down, the shoulder blades down, the tailbone down. This is a squeeze. We'll squeeze for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release that. Stretch everything out. If there's one more posture or stretch you'd like to have before Shavasana, you're welcome to do it now. Otherwise, it's time to choose your posture for Shavasana, maybe legs up the wall or on a chair or a couch, maybe flat out on your mat. If you're on your mat, press the back of the head down so you can scoot your left shoulder blade in and down, and then let the palm flop open. And then the right shoulder blade in and down, and let that palm flop open too. And then we'll lift the head just the width of a nickel, lengthen your neck and set it down. We'll lift the right leg, stretch from the hip, set it down and let it flop. And then the other leg, lift, stretch, set it down. Let's inhale, 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 and exhale, exhale, exhale. And inhale, 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 and exhale, exhale, exhale. I'm going to lead you through a guided relaxation now. And then at the end of that, I'll be quiet for about 5 minutes. And then the next thing you'll hear from me is some bells. I'm going to bring your awareness now to your forehead. Let your focus move to the area just behind your forehead, the front of your brain. Let's bring your awareness now to your eyes. Left eye, right eye, both eyes. And let your focus travel to the space just behind your eyes. We'll let your awareness come to your mouth, front of the mouth, back of the mouth, the tongue. Now your whole mouth. Let's bring our awareness to our mouth and our eyes and our forehead, all together. Let your awareness travel to your throat and then to your heart. Bring your awareness now to your right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, right thumb, right index finger, second finger, third finger, pinky finger. Bring your awareness to the back of your hand, the palm of your hand, the whole hand. The wrist, the elbow, the shoulder, the whole right arm. Let your awareness travel again to your heart. And now the left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, the back of the left hand, the palm of the left hand, the whole hand, the left wrist, left elbow, left shoulder, the whole left arm. And now let your awareness take in both arms together. Bring your awareness now to your abdomen. And the right hip, right knee, right ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, pinky toe. Become aware of the top of the right foot, bottom of the right foot, the whole right foot, right ankle, right knee, right hip, the whole right leg. Let your awareness rest again on your abdomen. Left hip, left knee, left ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, pinky toe. Bring your awareness to the top of your left foot, bottom of the left foot, the whole left foot, left ankle, left knee, left hip, the whole left leg. Bring your awareness now to both legs together. Both legs together and abdomen together. Right arm, left arm, and heart together. Forehead, eyes, mouth, the whole head together, the whole upper body together, the whole lower body together, the whole body together, the whole body together, resting on your mat. With the sound of the first bell, begin to wiggle fingers and toes, little wrists and ankles. With the second bell, take your time, roll to the side you like best. And then with our last bell, again, taking your time, make your way to a comfortable seat. And we'll end with the breath together. So inhaling, you can lift your arms if you'd like. The exhale, we bring hands to heart. Just pausing here to recognize you've given yourselves and each other a good thing. And with gratitude for your time and your practice, thank you for sharing it. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Miss Jennifer.
You're welcome. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Drink lots of water. That was a hard one.